everyone, so we're back here. This video was supposed to be live on Facebook, but the problem is I can't seem to go live in Facebook or even here in YouTube. So anyway, let's get back to topic. I know a lot of people have been asking me that, Jepster, I don't do my edits in Resolve. So how do I get my projects into Resolve using my editing suite? So anyway, so if you're using Premiere or Final Cut, there are a few ways to get your projects into Resolve. So first way is the easiest way is to use a Final Cut Pro XML file that you can export in both software. So how do you do that? Well, I don't have Adobe installed or anything Adobe installed in my laptop right now. So I can't really show you how to do that, but I guess there are a lot of tutorials out there in YouTube that can show you how to do that. So anyway, once you've done that, you can actually import the whole thing into Resolve easily. So you just go to Edit, and then go to File, go to your Edit panel. It's right here over your Edit panel. You go to File, and then you go to import your import timeline. So you can import an AAF, EDL, or an XML. So you could just press that, and I have here an exercise that I did for my students. So a look exercise. So you just press that, and it's in XML format. So it just has this weird HTML icon. So it's called an XML document. Anyway, so we could import that, and once we've done that, you'll be prompted with a whole lot of settings. So we have here, I exported this in Premiere, and then I put the word Resolve. Anyway, so import timeline. So once you export in Premiere, because I'm a Premiere user before I became a Resolve user, you have a lot of sequences. So you could actually import any of the sequences that you put there. So if you're an organized editor, you won't have a problem. Now, if you're an editor that just keeps on doing the nested sequences, control new sequence, and everything else, you may have a problem because you don't know which of those sequences you actually want to grade with. So anyway, with that, you can now name your new timeline. For example, look exercise grading. You name it like that. So master timeline start code. Some people would like to make this all zeros, but I highly suggest that you leave that one over there. So automatically set project settings, automatically import source clips. Now, if you haven't imported your clips into Resolve yet, I suggest you click that and then set it to your project settings. Make sure that your project settings in Resolve are the same as your timeline. Okay, and then use sizing information the same as the what do you call this? The same sizing information that you use in your sequence. Okay, so mixed frame rate format. It's up to you. You can use either Resolve, Final Cut, or everything. So I'd like to use Final Cut. From here, you press OK. Now once you press OK, some clips might be missing, especially if you haven't imported it yet. Do you want to select another folder to search? You just press yes. Now with that, let's try to look for those files. As far as I know, they are here. And there's a workshop folder. Yes, over here. And then you just press OK, and Resolve will look for those files for you. They will look for it up to the subfolders. Anyway, with that, you already have all your files completed here or imported here in Resolve for grading, and you could also actually see all the clips there. Okay, they're cut in a way that you have cut it in Premiere. Now here are some things that you have to remember when you're importing from Premiere or any other software into Resolve. One, have as less transitions as possible. If possible, no transitions. Give your colorist the offline edit. Okay, so as in offline, no graphics, no transitions, no adjustment layers, no nesting as much as possible. This is one of my pet peeves. Having so much nested sequences, I don't actually know which of those clips are the ones that they actually used for their edit. Give the colorist the offline edit before you actually go online and put all the graphics. Okay, now With that, if, for example, we do some grading. Right. So for example, this thing is already graded. Of course, don't forget to save. You can save this project any way you like. So blah 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 blah. And then once you're done with that, okay, so you've imported it using XML, and you now want to deliver this project to your client. So of course, they gave you the offline edit. Now you want to give it to them for their online edit. So you can ask them, is it all right if we don't have any, if you're not going to edit it anymore or put any transitions? Well, of course, they might put some transitions. But if they're going to put some transitions, what you could do is actually export it back to them as a Premiere XML for Final Cut Pro. It all depends on what software you are using. So for example, for Premiere, export it to Premiere XML. So how do we do that? So Premiere XML, look for the file where you want it to export. For example, shoot to workshop, testing. Okay, so export, it's export XML. And then from export XML, we have selected that folder. Now you have to give it to them in a format that can be read by any editing suite. So for me, I love the GoPro Cineform because it's so high quality. I actually love it in RGB 16-bit, and then render at the source resolution, of course. So this in my principle, I give them the file and how they gave it to me. Okay, the quality best, of course, quality best. As you could, quality of the best is really high bit rate. Around, I think it's 500 or 600, probably 1 gigabyte per second. Or if you could, for the least, it's around 40 to 50 Mbps. Okay, so try least because we're just testing it. We don't want the 1 gigabyte file. And actually, these files, raw files, were actually given as H.264. Anyway, so here's the secret sauce in how you could give your files to the online editor, that they could still put transitions and whatever, as long as whatever revisions they will get is not a complete overhaul of the edit. So that's why we have these steps when you're doing post. You have your offline edit, give it to your colorist, then you have your online edit with all the effects and graphics, and then you render it out final artwork. Okay, so what are frame handles? So this is what you do. We have what we call the frame handles. So what are frame handles? Frame handles are actually amount of frames you'd like to extend these clips. For example, this clip ends here. So this clip, the one the guy goes whoa. You can extend this clip into the number of frames you want it to have when you export it. So for example, your editor asks, well, we only do minimal edits, so probably around 2 seconds will do. So frame rate of your project is actually 24 frames per second. Then you go with 48. So we have 48 frame handles. When you have 48 frame handles, it will give you 2 seconds of additional frames at the end and at the beginning of that clip. So what Resolve will do is it will export your files, these files individually into a folder where you specified with additional frames that is not in the edit. Now, once you have decided on that, you can go to File. So this is just for testing. You have to use unique file names. And with these unique file names, of course, because you are you're exporting these files differently again. So file subfolder, let's go to footage. So that's where everything will go. Okay, now once you've done that, you can add that to our render queue. Look how much percent it adds to our storage. So once you add that to the render queue, and then once you start render, We go to videos. This PC. Did we put that? Shoot School Workshop. Yep. Export XML. Okay. Now, if you could see here, we now have the what do you call this? We now have the XML file, and we now have all the footage that was used. Okay. So this is the offline edit of the entire thing. Okay, so you give this file to your what do you call this? To your editor. So for example, I'm going to open Resolve, and for example, this is I'm working in Premiere. So what I would do is import an XML. For example, this is the Premiere. So let's try to import that file and see if it worked. So import that. Then okay, and, yep, Resolve. Right. Okay. And now we have rated files right here. And you can see there's a prefix for the file name. It's the v1-00. So Resolve creates that for you. So this is what the editor who uses Premiere will get. They will get all the files chopped up, but take note, we have frame handles. You actually check, which is around 2 seconds, plus 2 seconds. So if they're gonna make any edits or changes with their edit, they have additional 2 seconds to work on that. So that's it, guys, and I'll see you again next week. This is Jepser, and I hope you had fun. I hope you were able to learn how to grade from Premiere to Resolve and back. And that's it, and I'll see you again next week.